The Distinction Between Sex and Gender by Christian Ortega. Sex is defined as the biological traits that categorize people as male, female, or intersex from a biological point of view: chromosomes, gonads, hormones, and secondary sexual characteristics are some examples of these traits. Usually, a person's sex is determined at birth by physical characteristics like genitalia. It's important to understand, nevertheless, that biological sex is a spectrum and may not necessarily correspond with personal experiences of gender identity or societal expectations. The roles, actions, and identities that societies ascribe to people according to their perceived sex are collectively referred to as gender. In contrast to biological sex, which is defined by physical attributes, gender is influenced by societal expectations, conventions, and manifestations. It encompasses elements that affect how people view themselves and are regarded by others in particular societies, such as gender roles, stereotypes, and norms. Societies differ greatly in their concept of sex and gender due to cultural variances. While the traits of biological sex may be universal, gender roles, manifestations, and identities are cultural constructs that vary greatly throughout societies. While some communities may have more flexible or non-binary conceptions of gender, others may have rigid gender conventions and duties. Promoting inclusion, respect, and acceptance of varied gender identities and manifestations globally requires an understanding of these cultural variances. Gender development is greatly influenced by socialization, which shapes how people understand and express their gender identity. Children are socialized into gender roles and conventions from an early age through interactions with friends, family, the media, and society at large. This process affects people's gender perceptions of both themselves and other people. The development of gender identity, expression, and behavior is greatly influenced by socialization, which adds to the diversity of gender experiences, even as biological sex lays the groundwork. The lives and well-being of persons are significantly impacted by sex and gender-related rights and safeguards. Ensuring the rights of transgender and non-binary people depends on the legal recognition and protection of gender identity. Laws that forbid discrimination on the basis of gender and sex also support inclusivity and equality. In order to advance human rights and dignity, people must have equal access to healthcare, education, work, and other services without facing discrimination on the basis of gender or sex. In terms of sex versus gender activism, ethical considerations include advancing inclusivity, respect, and dignity for people of all gender identities. This entails dispelling myths, promoting legal safeguards, and guaranteeing that everyone has access to the same resources and rights regardless of gender identification. Teaching students about the biological characteristics of sex and the social construction of gender is one way to raise awareness about sex versus gender. This encourages tolerance, acceptance, and understanding of various gender identities and expressions. Social views and conventions are influenced by how gender is portrayed in the media and in culture with relation to sex versus gender. In order to represent the multiplicity of gender identities and experiences in an ethical manner, it is necessary to challenge stereotypes, represent people with accuracy and respect, and encourage inclusivity.